Stem stitch is a great outline stitch, so as the name suggests, you can use it to stitch stems, straight lines. It also works really well on curves. So let's get started.
To begin your stem stitch, pass your needle up through the fabric. Now you can see that rather than working from bottom to top, I'm actually going to work from side to side. I just find that a little bit easier. Now to begin, we're going to do our first stitch here. So pass your needle through the fabric. Now you'll notice that I'm using my thumb to hold this loop. It's really important that this loop sits below the line that we're stitching, and that anytime you bring the needle up, you're pulling it up over that line. So I'm going to come up halfway between these 2 points here. Just pull your needle up. Oops. And then just pull your thread through. And you can let go of that little loop that we were holding. So you can see that that loop has now tightened, and that's sitting below where our thread came out. Okay, so next we're going to pull this down again and use our thumb to anchor that thread, and we're going to come up our stitch. We're going to go through, that didn't make sense, we're going to go through the fabric, and now we're going to come up halfway. And once you've started, that halfway point is really easy to identify because it's where that first stitch ends. Now, pulling upwards, we're going to tighten that loop. I'm just going to keep doing that. So hold your loop, push your needle through the fabric, pull the thread to the top. Now you can make these stitches as small as you like, but you will start to see that it gives a really nice rope-like effect. It's slightly raised. So the stem stitch is, as the name suggests, often used for stems. You can use it for outlining. So when you're stitching words or letters or just solid lines, it works really well for that. But all we're doing is making sure that we're anchoring that loop below the line that we're stitching, and that when we come up in the middle, we're pulling our thread to the top, or up, I should say. If you get little knots like this, rather than tugging on them and making them worse, what you can do is just catch your needle in the loop. Well, there wasn't really a loop there, but they generally slip knots. So if you just tug either side of the knot, you should be able to loosen them. Alright, now to finish this off, I'm not going to do a full stitch because that's the end of my line. I'm just going to pass my needle through, just slightly beyond that last line, and that's it. That's stem stitch.